I think so. Yes,
Yeah.
now we are. Hello, everyone. Hi, Patty.
Hi. Glad to see you.
Yeah, and we also have wonderful Vera translating for you. And if you don't know where to find the translation, it's at the top of the chat. Hopefully you can see it. Maybe I can paste it again. And so that, yeah. Now you have it handy if you need the translation. So, Patty, what are we talking about tonight?
Oh, we're talking about talk to the entities and all this energy that is around all around us, and they are here.
Yes, they are. And yet, we can't see you, Flor. It's a webinar form, so you will just see the people talking, but we can read you in the chat. So feel free to ask your questions there. Thank you. So yeah, we are not educated to even acknowledge the existence of entities or ghosts or spirits or whatever, but certainly not communicating with them, right? Talking to them.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I should introduce myself.
Yeah.
My name is Katioucha. I think everybody knows me. I know everybody. We know everybody. So many lifetimes. So my name is Katioucha Zakhanevitch. I'm a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness and Talk to the Entities. And we are having a Talk to the Entities class coming up soon, beginning of July. And I know there are many people who don't even know about these classes or are intrigued or are resisting it. And so we wanted to offer you this half hour to start opening the door, look at it. So what is this? And why are you here? I mean, why are you listening to this? What drew you to this? Can you acknowledge that you didn't end up watching this video by chance or by accident, but because there was probably information here for you? So what are you willing to receive tonight during this half hour? And what acknowledgement can you have for your capacities with everything that doesn't have a body and can communicate with us, has a consciousness, and can be with us? So, Patty, can you talk to us a little bit about your take on that? Because, we've had this conversation recently, you and me. Can you, because I think many people can relate.
Thank you very much. Yeah. For me, consciousness was a path of looking for something else, and was this path of looking outside of me. So when I start with access consciousness bars, I start with bars. There's starting something bars and access tools start revealing this consciousness that is in everywhere, and in myself, in my body, in my being, in everything. So right now, more or less about 3 months, 6 months ago, I start tapping the energy.
Hey,
Hi, this is my kid.
Hello, my sweetness. I'm happy to see you.
I start tapping the energy of spirits, and it's something that I have it in my life, in my world, about okay, spirits, and it's most of the time in the religious thing and family think of spirits of earth and trees and plants, fairies, and not in all that the spirit, world spirit. So right now, this class of Talk to the Entity is pulling myself about, okay, what else is there? And most for the receiving.
Yeah.
In this path of act of consciousness or personal development, the receiving is a thing. So we receive things that we prefer, not prefer, that we like it, that we don't like it. So when we start opening the receiving of all of everything and the consciousness, that's why this class is
Yeah, and that's interesting what you're saying. Something just came up that's new, that I often went into the wrongness of me for being naive. I would believe anything. If you told me about this or that, I assumed you must be right, because, anything can exist, anything is possible. So why would you tell me about something, and I made myself wrong for that. And after all this path of consciousness and with the tools and everything, it's like, I wasn't naive, I knew something. Right? Because when I heard about spirits and ghosts and, guardian angels and stuff, if it was so wrong, I would have known as well. Because, okay, look for yourself. If somebody lies to you, do you know it?
Yeah. And right now, it's like something is missing. This is something that is
Yeah, there's something off.
Yeah.
And so actually right now with you all, I'm acknowledging, wow, actually I knew something, right? And you all know something different, something else, something I don't know about. We all know different things, and we have awarenesses of different things, of different beings, of different entities, and we've been so presented with a reality like this is the reality, and nothing else that doesn't match that isn't true and doesn't exist because it's not in that box. And you were always so far outside that box.
Mm-hmm.
And so what were you all aware of since, ever? What have you known forever about the existence of something else that wasn't embodied in a physical body?
Yeah. And for me right now, the invitation of exploring this was my kid. As a kid, they have this open world of possibilities. So it's like, oh my goodness, it's so natural that as a kid you start pinging the energies, the spirits of everything, including of a toy, of something, a book or whatever. And then they start speaking and giving voice to that spirit. So for me, it was so amazing that my parents start, no, Maria, that's not true. That's Maria's my kid. So that's not true. That's not possible. And then I start, I was educated like that style. So, okay, I will pay more attention about this exploration.
Yeah.
That is so natural.
Yeah. And what is really so unique, and probably the reason why I never really explored that universe before, is that in this reality, everything that is not with a body is made so significant and is closed with all sorts of stories and myths and, definitions and all sorts of stuff. And it's also like, oh, but this is spiritual and this is way better than everything else. And what I really like about Talk to the Entities tool and Access in general, access consciousness in general, is that it's such a pragmatic way of looking at things. Haven't you always known that in such a big universe, we couldn't be the only beings with consciousness, right? We could, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Even if you look at the planet, if you've ever interacted with an animal, or if you've ever, made a plant grow or anything, you know that there's consciousness. Of course, it's not talking like us very slowly and by thinking very slowly and heavily, but it's that instantaneous energetic conversation. And we've never had that vocabulary to articulate it. We've never had that information. And we were mostly made to believe that it doesn't exist, that it's not true, or that it is true, but it is so significant, it is so superior to us that people started to have fear, and as a consequence also to cut themselves from any awareness that would look like something like that. And so these tools I'm so grateful for these tools, because I would never have had the opportunity to explore this conversation, this possible, communion with everything else, because of those things that were always, I knew there was something there. So I went and I looked at those things and I said, yeah, but that thing of, so significant and important and superior, and so, like reserved for people with special powers or special, mediums and psychics, and, no, it's just there. I mean, have you had anyone in your family who died and you had this strong feeling that this person is still with you, or that this person is telling you something? And that's just one example that is easy to grasp, but it goes so far beyond that. And sometimes we tend to limit that ghost world, spirit world, to people who have died and no longer have a body. And then there's also all sorts of myths about what happens to them and what choice do they have then. And that is also made so significant. I remember I've had a lot of that in my family, because they were open to that, but they didn't have any other tools than the ones they had. So it's not a wrongness either. It's just that it was like, oh, she's receiving messages, and she wrote it and she got a message, your brother is okay, and then started with all sorts of things that I was like, yeah, I'm getting something different, but I would doubt myself, and and there was some truth there, of course, but it's the approach of it that was so unnatural, actually, because you can interact with entities exactly the same way you would interact with a baby, or a cat, or
and when I am here, I remember that, for example, in my family, my sister, she always has these headaches when she was a kid, and also pain in her body, and she was so aware of these capacities of this. She perceives the family or the person that died. So when she starts sharing with my parents, and I hear them, they start putting off all that awareness. So she start contracting that, and they start receiving all this pain in her body. And in my case, I start, okay, if my parents go so crazy with that ideas, I'm going to shut that awareness.
Yeah. So and that's what most of us do. And the more you cut yourself from what you know, the more it's going to hurt. And people think that, oh my God, it hurts. So if I acknowledge that, if I open that door, I'm going to be overwhelmed and it's going to be horrible. And also, there's a very polarized vision of the ghost universe as well, where it's, you know, the good spirits and the bad spirits and the evil ones. And, you know, and of course, that universe is as diverse as it is with people. So you've got assholes and you've got wonderful, amazing beings. But if you cut yourself from all of that, you can't receive any of it. If you are not willing to receive everything, then you cut yourself also from the good things that could come out of this.
Yeah. And I start remembering that since I don't tap that energies, I start tapping the energy of the furnitures. I was this type of person in my life that, oh, this shirt doesn't want to be here, I will move there. Oh, this plant doesn't want to be here, I will move there. And then, like, moving the furnitures and the plants, the stuff, do you buy something new? No, I only changed the things. And I
Wow, that's interesting that people would see that there's a difference and they would think it's new, but it's just it has a new shine because you honored it and you moved it where it wanted to be. And so, yeah, that's
so
wonderful.
There is a lot of possibilities with the spirit, with the world of spirits. There is a lot of, and there are tools. I love these tools of access. They give us the flow and the energy to interact and to be.
Yeah. And it's not only the ghosts or the spirits, it's just anything that has consciousness. What I discovered with Talk to the Entities is my capacities to communicate with houses and buildings and stuff. I found it amazing because I never knew I had that. And it was like, oh, it's actually fun to talk to my house. And I can ask it. So, like, you know, this idea of asking my house to bring me the right person to clean it, or asking my garden to ask for the right person to garden it, to take care of it. And wow, and it opened up so many possibilities. And now when I go into a house, so I had awarenesses, you know, there are houses that don't feel really good when you enter them, and you're like, what is this? Blah. But you don't, if you don't have the tools or any information, you just go like, blah. But actually with the tools, you can do something with it. If it's a place you have to stay and it's not really nice, you can do something about it, or not, but you can try, you know. And there's plenty of things like this. I had recently something really funny. All my plates were breaking. And, you know, a little here, a little there. And okay, we kept using them. And one day my son was putting the dishes away and 3 plates fell on the floor. And it is so funny because I could swear those plates threw themselves on the floor. And my son was like, oh, Mommy, I'm so sorry. I let them. No, you didn't let. They wanted to be smashed on the floor. They don't no longer want to be used. I mean, it's over. And it was so obvious. I mean, the information was so clear and so obvious, but it was so funny because if you tell that, you know, that story, people will look at you, are you crazy or what? But it makes life so much fun because everything around you is alive and you can interact with it. And it can be, you know, first you can go to the wrongness, either, oh my God, I'm breaking up all my dishes and my plates and all my glasses or whatever. But what is it actually? And if you are willing to look at things differently and let go of all, imagine you are on this planet and you never went to school, you were here, and everything we told you about this reality, nobody told you.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you know then? Would you find that bizarre to interact and communicate with everything energetically? Or would that be super, super natural? And I don't mean supernatural, but I mean super natural. Very natural. So, yeah. And Antflo says in the chat that the class opened her to the invisible world. Yeah, that's invisible world. I was recognized as a normal person with my perceptions, and the different tools gave me more clarity about a lot of things that showed up in my life, and it is more simple for me now. Yeah, it's making things so much more fun and much easier. And even when you have awarenesses that are not particularly agreeable, pleasant, or whatever, you have tools to deal with them, because it's not you, it's not a threat, it's not a menace, it's just something that is, and you always have a choice with that. What do I do with that? What is it? The famous 4 questions we have in Access Consciousness. What is it? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if yes, how can I change it? Wonderful questions. And you can do that with entities as well. And also it's like you have a perception of something and say, okay, what was that? Entity, not entity? Is it entities? Yes, no. It might be no. It might be something else. But if you don't even ask the question, you will never know.
Yeah. And for example, also with the projects or this idea that you have, maybe that project is something that wants to be created in this world, and is talking to you, is whispered to you that you are that one person that you can create and put that in the world. So most of the time that ideas, that things, that whispers, we avoid, we reject, we make us wrong, instead of asking questions. And something that I am more aware is, if that project wants to be created and is talking and this whisper, the noise and the loud starts increasing. If I don't allow to receive that information, it hurts also in some ways, in some struggle thing. So these tools of talk to the entities, they can give us more, as Anne-Flo said, more spaciousness, more clarity, more increase our perception, and then we can create with all this awareness more a greater possibilities.
And it's like we've been walking blind for so long. It's like all of a sudden you don't have this blind anymore, and it's like, wow. Oh, that explains it. Oh, now I get it. And also, I always tell this story. We were coming back from an access class with several people in the car, and they were discussing at the back, and I was driving and can't even remember who it was. And they were talking about entities, and all of a sudden one of them asked, and you, Katioucha, do you perceive entities? And I was like, me? Nah, not really. And then they kept on talking, and I was like, well, actually, there was this, and there was that, and there was that, and there was that, and there was that. And then all the times, kept coming and said, and then I turned to them and I said, actually, I do perceive entities. It's just that I hadn't acknowledged it yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we give, well, here, I am from Mexico, I live in Mexico, so here we have a lot of cultures about a lot of significance.
Yeah.
Significance in a positive way, significance in a negative way. And if we want to tap that energy, we have to choose in what size you are. So it's also this separation, all this.
It's a no choice choice.
Yeah. So it's like, what if I can receive and I can have the awareness of what is required in this moment, in this space, in this time, me and my body, and how to interact and communicate with total ease.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, it makes me so happy to have this conversation. Are there any questions? Your side, Vera, do you have anyone with questions? No. Okay, cool. There's so much more to explore. So if you are intrigued, we really invite you to come and, there are lots of classes everywhere. But the one we are inviting you to at the moment is going to be online on July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right? So 4 times, my battery's low. All good. And it's going to be 4 times 3 hours, and it's going to be online, and Mexico time is going to be 1 p.m. European time, it's going to, Paris time, it's going to be 8 p.m. and Argentina time is going to be,
3.
5. 3. It's the other way around. Yes, 3 p.m. Okay. Time zones. Oh my God, time zones and calculating. Oh my God. Okay, and yeah, so have a look at this. Is it something for you? And it will be translated into Spanish. So, and what else is possible? So, yeah, that's our invitation.
Yeah, come.
If you have any question, you can talk to Patty because she speaks Spanish and I don't. And yeah, of course, if you speak English, you can talk to me too, of course. But yeah, we have a wonderful host, so use her. I'm so happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to say?
No, I'm so happy for this adventure, this exploration, this time, and this conversation.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. I'll stop the recording